Guys, the weather is warming up, so it's the perfect time to talk about our sponsor, Mando. Spring into the season with a deodorant that can handle the heat. Grab some Mando whole body deodorant and nip body odor in the bud. Put it on your pits, package, feet, and beyond. Have whole body freshness. From the makers of Lumi deodorant, Mando is clinically proven to work hard all day. Instead of covering up BO with heavy fragrances, Mando stops body odor at the source. New customers get $5 off a starter pack. Use code Chael at shopmando.com. I love how I can use Mando everywhere. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body because it's aluminum free, baking soda free, cruelty free, dye free, and it's vegan. The Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. New customers get $5 off of a starter pack with my exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack. Use code Chael at shopmando.com. You can't seem to be two words that are best friends to Sean O'Malley. You can't rub elbows with Snoop Dogg socially. This is to an unfamous, skinny, big-haired kid from Arizona with no connections. When he made the claim, that's who he was. When he did it and put it on Instagram, that's who he was. You can't, skinny, unfamous, big-haired kid from Arizona, get onto the Contender Series. You cannot outfight and out-impress Dana White in comparison to the other contestants on the show that evening. You cannot get into the top 15 of the Ultimate Fighting Championships. You cannot begin your reign 5-0. You cannot go from number 10 to number 1 in one fight. You cannot beat, let alone stop, the greatest bantamweight of all time, Aljamain Sterling. You cannot get redemption over Chito Vera. You will not be able to defend this title. Couple that with the fact that you cannot main event pay-per-view. You cannot draw and you cannot sell out. 5th largest gate of all time. I used to have the live gate record. Put this in perspective for you. But I used to have it. And there was a fight where it was St. Pierre versus Jake Shields. They did 11,000 seats in Canada. I'm not counting that one. No. I'm sorry, 11,000 seats, for goodness sakes. They did 40,000 seats and an $11 million gate. I'm not counting that one. Just, it was just a one-off. Even George didn't do stuff. There's just so many things that came to it. I'm throwing that out. And with throwing that out, then comes my statement of I was the highest. And I'll just go right in the medium, $8 million. It wasn't $8 million, but $8 million. And that was the highest. It was a record. That was a record. The red carpet was rolled out for me for being credited and being part of such a big gate. I mean, it really was. It was a very special number to have. I also had pay-per-view records. And I left as Conor came in. And I do not have any of those records anymore. Now, I do still have, if you throw out all of Conor's. So, the whole diatribe that I gave you there is just that I pay attention to those numbers. I know those numbers. I know them really well. I know them well enough to tell you who was in the lead, when I got beat, who I had to beat, what I had to throw out to make sure that the statement was true in the first place. I know a lot about them right off the top of my head. $14 million? $14 million? And you weren't a first time, like if you're a first time to a Providence or any municipality, you're going to get a big bump. This was Miami. Go to Miami all the time. They got all sorts of fighters in Miami. They got a hotbed out there. They got good boxers out there too. I mean, they're spoiled with fighting. They didn't need this. They didn't have to have this. 14 million? Anytime you're a first time. Okay, great. Otherwise, you got to go to the fight capital of the world. That's the way that works. 14 million? Do you know how many cards we've put 2 title fights on? The occasional 3. Very few with 3, but often 2. They do not do those kinds of numbers. So I'm just sharing with you, you can't seem to inspire and work real well with Sean O'Malley. In fact, the only question that was left is what happens when people say you can. What happens when your buildup and your motivation is no longer to show everybody and stick it to everybody else? Which will be remnant of the fact that Sean was the favorite. The audience and the odds makers, which is really quite an awesome thing to come to, because they had evidence of this, right? These two had fought. These two had done the same thing at the same weight class. They came to a different result before this was heard in front of the Suga State Athletic Commission. But immediately in that night, oh, and by the way, even with the injury, without the injury, do whatever you want, there was still a performance prior to that. So you got a real good idea of where these guys stand. Suga Sean did not call out, but he understood with Cheeto. He understood that this was going to happen, but he didn't call him out, and that's just different. Sean has called out everybody else. Everybody. He's been told he can't. Took all the pressure off him, put him in a great spot, went out there and performed. So this was the big test. What happens when they tell you you can? What happens when the pressure's on you because you're expected to win? And he had the best performance I've ever seen, period. And we're now back in this spot because my partners over at DraftKings have put out a hypothetical line, one of which will become the actual line and one of which will disappear from the page. They put out odds O'Malley versus Topuria, and they put odds O'Malley versus Merab, both of which O'Malley, the star, the $14 million live gate, didn't lose a single round. One judge even had it 10-8. Saturday. Okay. I mean, how the hell's Merab going to beat him? Now, you got the answer. I've got the answer too. He's going to take him down and keep him there. This is the guy that he was never taken down once on Saturday. So now all of a sudden, we're questioning the guy's takedown defense. He was never taken down on Saturday. I mean, that's just not generally how we do it. By the way, I knew Merab would be the favorite. Like, that's not a huge surprise for me. I'm just reminding you right now that all you've done with Brer Rabbit here is put him back into the briar patch. All you're doing with O'Malley and kicking him and trying to take things from him, act like that win wasn't so impressive. Already move on with the news cycle, set him up, get him knocked down a notch. All you're doing is putting him right back where he loves to be. And Merab got worked up about this, by the way, which, not for nothing, huh? Is Merab turned into a great character or what? I mean, Merab went into a guy that was like thirsty for applause, thirsty for attention. Everybody goes through that phase, but he goes through this phase. And then he's a little bit gimmicky, and then he's out there trying. And somewhere within that process, instead of patting him on the back, he just became annoying. And now he's doing the same thing. He hasn't changed. He's doing the same thing. But there's a different look in his eye, isn't there? I see it too. And there's something very cool about it. There is something fun. How often do you get to use the word fun in a cage fight? There was a fun aspect to Merab. So Saturday was also Merab's big moment. He deserved a ton of credit. He took a fight. He fought 3 weeks ago over the best ever. You know how painful you're going to be if you got to fight a 2-time world champion for 15 minutes? I mean, just think about yourself. Do you know the pain that you're going to be in? Merab was in the same pain he said he wasn't. He lied. He lied to get the fight. Flew out there, made weight, did his paperwork, got on that scale, and was ready to fight. He deserves a lot of credit for that. And he was about to get it. He was about to get his 15 minutes of fame. He was in the front row just waiting for it. Joe Rogan did his part, tease old O'Malley up so O'Malley can say Merab's name. We flash the cameras down and Reed Harris either tells Cheeto to come or tells him to stay back. And they would have told him to come. Everybody knew this minute of the night was coming, and O'Malley took it from him. O'Malley took it from him. He knew what he was doing. O'Malley knows he's fighting Merab next. He took it from him just to be a dick. It was great. That's what you get, Merab. That's what you get for stealing his coat. You think he forgot? There's your receipt. Now we're even on the coat. But we still got to get to the fight. And Merab came up to O'Malley in the back. And Merab said to him, say my name. And it's a relevant line because I'm not sure that Sean knows why Merab said that. I think Sean thought like that was some level of trash talk or no. He was being very serious. Merab was being very serious. You had a microphone and you just built Ilia Topuria. Now people are questioning if it's going to be me. You got to say my name. He was genuinely bothered. This is why he approached him backstage, approached him to fight him or get some kind of promo going. Like, poor guy's hurt. He came to congratulate, but he wanted to give a message. Hey, you got to say my name. I'm your partner. I'm next. Which O'Malley did. He goes to the post-fight press conference. He made it clear, right? I saw O'Malley. I even yelled to him, "Good job, Sean." I was in a car, though. He didn't know whose voice it was. But I just want you to know, I saw O'Malley at 3 o'clock that morning. 3 o'clock is when I left. 3 o'clock Miami time. That's when I left the arena because I was doing the post show. And so when I'm down in the loading dock, O'Malley comes out. Guys, he was in a wheelchair. He was having a hard time standing. You know, those legs hurt so bad. And I offer you that. I offer you a glimpse behind the scenes, and I tell you that about O'Malley, which he might not want me telling people. But I do want to tell people, and I do want you to know he's in a wheelchair. And you want to know why? To go to a press conference, to be in that kind of shape and condition, you're hurting and you're hiding it in front of the world. And you're going to collapse, but you're not going to do it until you're alone and you're in private. In between that time, he called out 2 different guys. Oh, and by the way, they're both guys that, according to DraftKings, can beat him. That's how tough O'Malley is. Imagine calling out 2 guys that the world says can beat you. Imagine doing it. 2 different weight classes. You're spread it around, man. Come one, come all. Anybody's got the best shot to beat me. That's the one I'll fight. Imagine that. I'll risk it all. I'll put everything on the line. Find me a man that could beat me. Imagine that when you're feeling good. Now try to imagine that you would do that when you know in your heart you can't even walk, and you'll still take the fight. You'll still sign because you know I will be able to walk in 5 months. Imagine that. Because that's what Sean O'Malley did. That's what the guy did that DraftKings says is going to lose his next fight.